What? We already have visitors. That's awesome. Welcome to the 208 Fantasy Football Show, guys. I am Matt O, and with me, as always, is Justin Chance, again, taking a night off. It is National Onion Rings Day. I don't know about you, but I love onion rings. I'm all in on onion rings. So file on in. Get your onion rings. I have my Country Time lemonade. It's a beautiful evening, and we're going to talk the AFC West, the Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs today. And we've got some good stuff for you guys. This is an incredible division. You got to pay attention. Lock in. Let's do it right now. Well, we are good to go. It is it's the fourth day of summer, right? Third, fourth day. I believe it's the fourth day of summer now.
Something like that.
So we are good to go. Lots to talk about, Justin. How's your day going, my friend?
Good. My daughters are kind of holding me hostage right now for my bag of gummy worms, which I'm always reluctant to share. So
for good reason.
I told them to be quiet while the podcast is on. I might give them some gummy worms. So I don't know how I feel about that with parenting, with bargaining with my children, but I do it a lot, and it always usually is with food.
Well, if you get the win, we'll call it good.
Yes.
All right. News, Justin. Hopefully you got a little bit of news for us. Let's jump into
What's
it.
going on?
So I don't know, Matt, if you have seen this in at least a lot of your dynasty leagues. Have you seen Isaiah Bond getting picked up a lot, or Henry Ruggs getting picked up a lot in leagues?
I picked up Bond in all of my dynasty leagues.
Can you explain why a person should, or why your reasoning behind that is?
So my thought is the kid's an incredible talent. Nothing's been set in stone for him. Nobody drafted him. I actually liked him over Matthews.
Matthew
Golden. Yeah, Matthew Golden. And I had some guys on. Our rosters are super, super deep. And my thought was, let me grab him right now. Give me Bond right now, and we'll go from there. So if it doesn't work out, easy drop.
Did you put him on your taxi, or what was your plan with
that? Taxi for now, for sure. Love him on the taxi. Oh, we need a little music while we're going through here. Go ahead. Keep going, Justin. Keep going.
My daughter's just singing in the background, so please enjoy that lovely music in the background.
Yeah.
Besh and Dante Thornton might be a thing. So they have really. I remember coming into the draft, Jack Besh from TCU. He was originally an LSU transfer to TCU, had a really good year. They drafted him and Deontay Thornton out of Tennessee. But they drafted Deontay, I believe, in the 5th round. And then it seems like Thornton is getting a lot more of the run with the first team. I think that's only because Jack Besh will take the Jacoby Myers role if Jacoby Myers ends up going down. Again, if you are playing redraft, I think Thornton might be more this year. Jack Besh might be a little bit more of a dynasty play. So just something to pay attention to. Matt, kind of your thoughts on that? Are you in favor of one or the other?
I think they're both fantastic stashes right now. It's still a little bit early, and we're going to cover them in the Raider breakdown. But hold on to them both is going to be my comment on that. So,
yep. So, and another thing from Raiders camp, Pete Carroll says they're not going to give Genty the full workload. Again, we'll probably talk about it with the Raiders about how I feel about that. I'm sure Matt has some feelings about that as well. Travis Hunter signed his contract today. It is the first non-quarterback fully guaranteed contract for a rookie ever. So he signed for $46 million, fully guaranteed his contract. It's nice to hopefully start seeing more of these fully guaranteed contracts for NFL players. I think they should be fully guaranteed. Most professional sports are fully guaranteed. You saw Deshaun Watson get his. So hopefully more of these start to come out. So it's cool to see him get that. That's awesome. Related to Colorado, Shador got arrested this week. Going 101, 110, and a 55. Talked about it a little bit. Nothing crazy. Just something to look out for if that impacts training camp at all. And then Jari Alexander signed with the Ravens. So that was pretty cool to see him and Lamar Jackson reunite from those early build days.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. That is our news, everybody. Tons to talk about. And again, hey, we want your comments. Stay engaged. This is meant to be for this next hour or so. Bring some comments in as we talk. We're here to help you win. That's all we want to do. We enjoy talking ball. So let's get into our meat and potatoes of the show. And we're going to be talking AFC West. In this division, Justin, I wish Chance were on because he's such a Broncos fan, but this division is super interesting and it's getting tougher and tougher as the last couple of seasons have gone on. So let's jump right into it with the Broncos. Again, I wish Chance was on so he could talk his guys up. Last year they were 10-7. They made the playoffs as a number 7 seed, ended up losing to the Bills. Justin, you have them predicted 12-5. Give us your inside thoughts.
Again, I was not a big Bo Nix guy coming into last year. I think I was pretty adamant about that. He proved me wrong. He looks like a very competent and a very scary quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. Brings a little bit of that rushing upside. Again, we'll talk to that when we get to that. I think they added some good pieces in Evan Ingram, RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins are really fun adds to the backfield. Their O-line, again, they have 3 very good linemen and Garrett Bowles, Quinn Myers, who was an all-pro, Mike McGlinchey is very good. Their defense, I think this is a top 3 defense. I think Matt kind of agrees with that. They have the best defensive player in football and PS2. They added Hufanga from San Francisco, and they added Trey Greenlaw. So really good ads in the back end. And their first-round draft pick, they made a strength to strength. I love this approach when it comes to draft stuff. They added Johnny Barron from Texas, who should fit in right in that nickel, be able to play a little safety, whatever they need him to play. That's just a scary defense. They're going to be a very tough team to beat.
Yeah, in this division, they could easily look. I'll be bold in this for this team right here. They could easily win the division. I shouldn't say easily. They could win this division, but don't rule them out. We are not the Broncos of old here, so. Let's jump into the players again. This is our player projection current, and these are going to change. This is courtesy of our friends over at Fantasy Pros and their position ranked ADP and draft round. Again, these will change as we get closer and closer in the season. We've seen J.K. Dobbins is a good example, right? He was nowhere near his ADP, and now he's just slowly rising. So, but let's jump in. Bo Nix, Justin. Bo Nix finished our QB 7 last year, 7-8, depending on where you were playing your games. But he is position 8, ADP 68. You get him in the 6th round. Do you like him there?
Yeah, he's just really. I just didn't think he would be this good this fast. That's the scary thing. He runs the ball really well. Again, he finished as the quarterback 7, threw for 3,000 yards, had 29 touchdowns. You'd love to see that 92 rushing attempts, 430 yards. I think his touchdowns could go up. He has such a high floor. That's the scary thing. Again, they added a little bit of receiving depth behind Court Sutton with Evan Ingram and Pat Bryant. I just think he's going to keep making those jumps. I think he could be of the rookie class. He could be what Jaden Daniels was last year. Like he could be talked about as the number 1 guy in the class. He's scary. This team is really, really good.
Yeah, him coming into his 2nd year, and I will tell you, Justin, we were high on him, and the only place I was high on him was as long as he ended up in Denver. And I think a lot of people like, really, Denver? And I said yes. Him and Sean Payton were like just a perfect match. And now they go out and get RJ Harvey, they get Pat Bryant, and that defense is just going to give them massive opportunities, right? Hopefully a lot of 3 and outs for that for the defense, right, to give offense more chances to score. But I like Bo Nix. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say Bo Nix will be a top 5 QB in this year's fantasy. It's very easy. Again, he finished 7 or 8. There's no reason why he can't get up there with the new addition of his weapons. And in the 6th round, yes, please, I'll do it. If you can get him, go ahead and snag him in the 6th round. We just talked about a little bit about his new weapons, but he's got new running backs in addition to that room, RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins. And I want to just kind of briefly touch on this before I turn it over to you, Justin. They did not go out and get Harvey until kind of this OTA started, and Estime and McLaughlin and Harvey are there. And I think they kind of said, who else is out there? Who can we get? Who can we get a veteran guy? And Dobbins is sitting there, and they gave him a contract. Well, I think it's 1 year, 4 or 5 million, somewhere in there. Not a ton of money, but they're going to use him. Do you think the Dobbins sign hurts Harvey's ADP in the 5th round with it going 21 overall?
Yeah, I would take him
21 position rank.
Yeah, I just can't take him in the 5th. I feel like it swung too much in his way. And kind of my hot take with the Broncos is this is going to be one of the hardest backfields to start from week to week. Whether it's Jalil, because I think that's going to be their third running back is Jalil just because he catches the ball really well. JK and RJ, I think each of them will have random games. Like, let's not forget like what JK Dobbins was doing. He had a 135-yard game, 131-yard game, 96-yard game. Like, he was popping off those first 2 weeks and kind of sputtered out a little bit. I think what Matt has said is they saw OTAs, they saw all this minicamp stuff. They're like, we need another body in here that's going to add a little bit more explosiveness. Again, this backfield is going to be very, very hard to start week to week. That's just purely my thoughts.
Yeah, and I still like Harvey here in the 5th. Much higher, and it's possible. We'll see how the hype goes. You know how things run in fantasy football. You get all of a sudden a run and a guy moves 20 spots. But I'm okay here in the 5th with him. I like him, but I'm certainly going to try to handcuff Dobbins if I can get him, so I can keep them both. I'm not worried about Estime, even McLaughlin. I'm not really worried about. I got to have both these two in a Sean Payton offense. Go back to Thunder and Lightning all those years ago and with the Saints, and they both got a lot of work. So I'm cool with it in both of those spots in this running back room. Get Harvey, get Dobbins. Not a problem with their current ADPs. Again, I will say this one last time. If Harvey starts to climb in the 4th, I will wait. I will pass. It's too early for too rich for my blood in that case. Wide receiver Sutton keeps being Sutton. He's a 24th ranked ADP 51. Again, 5th round. Mims, we were really high on him last year. He kind of burnt us a little bit, but he can get him in the 11th round. And then the newcomer, Pat Bryant. Interesting receiving room. Justin, give me your take on that crew.
So Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin feel very similar career arc-wise. Like, they've always been like on the cusp, decent. Like, this is Sutton's, I think, his second 1,000-yard season. In 2019, he had a 1,000-yard season too. Terry, I felt like kind of broke up on the scene and then kind of been very much an average receiver. Now they have these new young quarterbacks to come in. Again, in Dynasty League, I think he's a prime trade candidate. It'll be kind of interesting. Someone made a what do I want to call it? A comparison between Marvin Mims and Braden Cooks and how Sean Payton should use him. Being that fast outside guy, that'll be interesting. I think Pat Bryant's been gassed up quite a bit as that Marquise Colton's guy, and I don't know if he could do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I will say, so Vele, yeah, for sure, you're good. Vele has had an interesting camp, or I guess I should say with OTAs a little bit. I've heard some good things about him. I still like Bryant. I still like Bryant better. Troy Franklin, I'm not out on, or I'm not in on him at all. I think we had high hopes for Franklin. That's why I left him off the list. I still think Pat Bryant will overtake Vele for sure. Pat Bryant is a much better wide receiver, although young. Keep that in the back of your mind. Vele didn't really have very many receptions last year. Just pulling up his stats real quick. Again, so he had 55 targets, 41 receptions, 3 touchdowns, and less than 500 yards. That's easy for Pat Bryant to absorb those receptions. I just like Pat Bryant so much better than Vele coming in, but we'll monitor it. We will keep that for you. And again, I'm out on Franklin. Had high hopes for him, but I just think we're past that.
Yep.
The other tight end that I think we both like, Evan Ingram, the old man, as we'll say. He's 30 years old, and I believe he'll be 31. Yep, he'll be 31 in September, first part of September. Justin, thoughts on Ingram with this offense?
I mean, Sean Payton's already come out and said this guy's our joker. Like, this is our mismatch player. Like, Evan Ingram is very similar to Kyle Pitts, however you want to call it. Maybe I'm out of Kyle Pitts this year. I haven't really decided. He's a wide receiver. That he's not going to play in line. He's going to run routes. He will be their number 2, whatever you're going to call it. Let's not forget, Evan Ingram has had 3 top 6 tight end finishes with 2 years ago. Again, being the tight end 2, I think he gets back to form. That is my breakout, late breakout, whatever you want to call it on this team. I think Evan Ingram bounces back with a top 5 finish here at tight end.
Yeah, in 2023 with Jacksonville, he did have nearly 1,000 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns with 114 receptions. I think that's very doable for the Sean Payton offense. So perfect. There is your Broncos for sure. Again, some sneaky stuff. Do not sleep in my mind. Do not sleep on Nix. I think he's going to be very good. Keep an eye on Pat Bryant, and I also like the running back situation that's where Justin and I differ a little bit. Again, hey, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Again, we want nothing more than you would win your fantasy football league. Leave us a comment. Put something in the chat. Again, we'll answer questions for you the best we can, and we'll just keep cruising on here. Chargers, again, in 2024, they were 11-6. They did make the playoffs as a number 5 seed, eventually losing to the Texans. Justin, you have them predicted at a 10-7 record. Give us your thoughts.
Man, the Chargers are a fun team. I feel like they're the Falcons of the AFC. Like, they always randomly choke stuff away. That's just how they are. So, but they've always have a lot of talent. Again, they have a big 3 on the offensive line with Joe Alt, Slater, probably one of the best tackle tandems in the NFL. Mekhi Becton, who they signed from Philadelphia, looked like he had a career resurrection in Philly. He comes over there. Zion Johnson, both very serviceable. They bring in Amari Hampton with Najee, kind of very similar to Denver, where Denver brings in a rookie guy and they bring in a veteran. Najee and J.K. Dobbins' contract is exactly the same. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that works. And then defensive-wise, again, it's very much not on the same level as Denver, but I think this defense will be good. They'll be coached up well. John Harbaugh's a really good coach. I feel like their defensive coordinator, they do a good job. Their back end isn't great. Derwin James is getting up there. In A's, they still have Khalil Mack. But again, I think this team will challenge the Chiefs a little bit here. I think 3 teams from this division will go to the playoffs, though.
Perfect. Again, I have them slated number 3 in this division, still potentially making the playoffs, but this team is improving year to year, and we're going to see why here in just a second. But Herbert, I believe Herbert was 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. He was number 11 in fantasy football last year. Herbert is a talented guy. I love Herbert. Yuki is the 15th ranked. You need him in the 14th round, essentially. Super late, which I think you can get a lot of QBs late in this year's draft. But the thing with Herbert is I feel like he's a race car with a governor on it. I think Harbaugh is just like, hey, you're good, but I'm like, I don't know. He had 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and threw for less than 4,000 yards. I'm like, I kind of wish he had more yards or he could do a little bit more. Since Harbaugh's been there, he threw for 4,000 and 5,000 yards previous, and now this first year there was 31 with Harbaugh and 38. I'm hopeful that Harbaugh will cut him loose a little bit, but in the 14th round, okay, if you're going to wait on a quarterback, that's fine. There might be some other guys I like a little better, maybe Prescott or Drake May, but I'm okay with Herbert. Your thoughts?
So I think the biggest thing with Herbert is again, Matt already talked about it, the coaching attachment. So Harbaugh has always had Greg Roman as his OC. Greg Roman was in the Alex Smith years, the Colin Kaepernick years, and then he was with Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, and the Ravens days. So I feel like there's never been a huge passing upside. So the yard is just never going to be there. I don't think we're ever gonna get that passing outcome desired, even that rushing desire. I mean, he went up to 69 carries this year for 306 yards. I traded him away in our dynasty startup for CJ Stroud and some extra, which I was surprised I got that. I was pretty excited about that because I played it off as CJ Stroud doesn't have rushing upside. I think he's just a really good NFL quarterback. I don't think he'll ever be that top tier his first 2 years of fantasy football quarterback. That's my only hang up with him.
Yeah, and as I'm looking at our draft rounds are not correct here, Justin. So please bear with us; those are incorrect. He is 15, 102. So that's probably that's sooner than the 14th round. It's probably closer to 12th round, but keep that in mind. Moving over to our running backs, Najee Harris and Hampton. Just an interesting backfield. The Chargers go out and get Najee. They come in and they draft Hampton. What's your take on these two for this year? And do you like them in their current draft positions?
Man, this is tough. It just feels like Denver again. So I feel a little bit better about Hampton in this situation because I don't know. That's just how I feel. It's just a gut feeling more than anything. I think Hampton's going to be a really good player. And just like seeing him shake hands with John Harbaugh, I was like, this kid is huge. He's a huge human being. I feel like Najee always leaves a lot to desired. Like, again, he just feels right around that running back 20 to 15 range. And, like, I don't know. That doesn't get me excited to draft. Like, it's the boat versus – I guess he's not really a boat. He's like a motor scooter or the mystery box. I'm going to probably pick the mystery box, which is Amari Hampton. Maybe take a little bit of that bet with him. I've never been a big Najee guy. I don't think he's that great of a running back. I think he's very, very average.
Yeah, I much like the quarterback situation. My take on this is, who is our head coach, right? Harbaugh, and he loves to run the ball. I think if you're going to get these guys, get both of them. I like Hampton a little bit better. Najee was still 1,000-yard rusher last year. He's only 20, I think he's 27. Yep, just turned 27. So he's not up there. He's not of age. They're going to both get used. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be a little bit of ride the hot hand. I think Harbaugh does that sometimes. So I'm okay with both getting them in the 12th, third round. And you probably have to spend a little bit more on Hampton. No, I'm sorry. That's different. 47, you're probably 5th round, 6th round for Hampton, which is fine. And you can get Najee much later. That's fine. I'm okay with that, especially if you pick an early QB and get a couple of tight ends, and these are your running backs. Certainly okay with that. Moving on to our wide receivers, McConkey, who was surprised all of us last year. Some people loved him. Maybe I wasn't high on him. I think Justin, you were high on him coming out of Georgia.
Let's go, baby.
He is right now position ranked 11. Quentin Johnson, 65. Trey Harris, the rookie, is now 57. Again, you can see where you can get him in their average draft position. Ignore the round here because those are inaccurate at the moment. But give me your spin on this with the addition of Trey Harris. Quentin Johnson is not worth talking. I think Mike Williams is back. Not worried about Mike Williams and his paper hamstrings. So really what we're talking about here is McConkey and Harris. Give us your insight.
I think Ladd is the only viable pass catcher in this offense. That's how I feel. He's the only pass catcher I'm going to catch with this offense, and I'm okay taking him in the second round. Totally fine. Whether that's the 201 or the 210 or the 212, I don't care what it is. I'm fine with taking him there. He's going to be a perennial 100, 110 catches, 90 catches. He is going to be a PPR machine. He is that guy. Like, I've always been kind of a sizist when it comes to receivers. And I think for the most part, you should be that. But man, like, he was good in a circumstance that probably he should not have been good. Like, it was a very run heavy offense. He finished as the wide receiver 12, 112 targets, 82 receptions. It felt like it took him a while to get going. And then, man, in the postseason, he started popping off. So I am all on that train of Ladd.
Yeah, I'm probably a little less hyped about McConkey, although he's still going to be a good wide receiver. I do think Trey Harris is going to sneak into it. However, here's my spin on it a little bit. Last year it was just McConkey. They didn't throw a ton, enough to get Herbert a little less than 4,000 yards. I think the addition of Harris increased Herbert's value more so than it hurts McConkey's value, if that makes sense. Harris, 6'3" guy, can go up and get the ball. I like him. Getting him late in the 10th round as your wide receiver 4, maybe 5 with big upside, I like it. I'm not opposed. I don't think he's going to be anywhere a top 10 or top 15. Could he be a top 25 wide receiver? Yeah, it's possible, depending on what happens with that offense and that defense. But I like McConkey. I wish last year we got such value on him. We got him so late. And now you got to spend a second rounder. Oh, I don't know if I like that value this year, but I'm not opposed to getting to him.
Would you rather have Trey Harris or Pat Bryant?
Ooh. I think I'll take Pat Bryant. I think I like Pat Bryant just a little bit more in that offense. So
I like it.
Moving on down to tight end. Look, it's Disley, Conklin, and Gadsden. I kind of like Gadsden, but he's a rookie. It's way too early. Don't grab him. I think he's a future guy for sure. There's two, like Disley and Conklin are maybes, and they could be flip flopping, and they're going to ride hot hand. Both of them are just old vets that could see some product. But I still think Harbaugh wanted. Go ahead, Justin.
And the Chargers are probably one of the few offenses that use a fullback, and the only reason that me and Matt probably know that is because the fullback is from Boise State that used to be defensive tackle. So Will Disley is a glorified sixth alignment at this rate. Yeah. So again, like I said, Matt feels a little different. I think Ladd is the only viable pass catcher of this offense.
Yep, for sure. I will say this just because we'll throw some Boise State stuff out there and we'll get to him in another podcast. But if Loveland would have been available to the Chargers,
he would have went there.
He would have went there and we'd be having a different conversation. So
100%.
Moving on to our Raiders. The old Raiders, 4-13 last year. They missed the playoffs, obviously. Justin, you have them improving slightly, 6-11. Give us your insight.
So I like the addition of Geno Smith. I think he will be an upgrade. I think he's a good quarterback. They add Genty, which he's me and Matt's guy. Like he's that dude. O-line is halfway decent. Jackson Powers Johnson was a really good revelation for them last year. Brock Bowers, goodness gracious, just a freak, just a scary player that I just didn't know if it would transfer or not. But I mean, him being a freshman at Georgia, just balling out, and then first year, he's just a revelation. But yeah, they lose a little bit of their wide receivers. A little concerning about that. Defense, again, they still have that dude at Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins. This front seven is really going to be fun to watch. It'll be interesting to see how they do. But again, I do think this is the toughest division in football. I think them squeaking out 6 wins, they would be pretty happy about that. And Pete Carroll should add a few things to that with him coming out.
For sure. Again, 6-11, they'll miss the playoffs. Probably get another high draft pick would be my guess. But we'll figure out that when the time comes. Moving on to the position here. Geno Smith, you talked about. Justin, your thoughts on Geno as far as a draft round? Have to get him in the 13th round. Are you interested?
Probably not too much. It's probably a culmination of Geno, this wide receiver group. I'm not super high on, especially from a fantasy football aspect. Geno doesn't run the ball a ton, which is something I really do kind of search for. I do want my running back to run a little bit. He ran 53 times for 272 yards, which was the second highest of his career. I definitely do think Geno is a placeholder. He's 34 years old. Look for the Raiders to be in a quarterback market next year, especially in the draft.
Yep. And Geno did throw for 4,300 yards last year, 21 TDs, 15 interceptions on really a pretty vanilla offense that we thought we had would be much better, but that didn't pan out. He gets moved to the Raiders. I'm probably not going anywhere near Geno, even in Superflex. No need to. There is plenty of depth in the quarterback room late, so I would not take him, but you certainly can. Moving on to running back. Our guy, our Boise State guy, Ashton Genty, 4th. They have him position ranked 4, ADP at 10. That's the end of the first round. You got to spend an early pick or first round pick to get him. He's in there with Mostert, and I put Mostert in there because of the Pete Carroll kind of saying, hey, Genty's not going to be the 3-down guy. I'm going to let you talk about that, and then I'll follow back up, Justin, what my thoughts. But go ahead.
I feel like Pete Carroll this season has been like really cryptic about things, and he says one thing and then they come out and do another thing. Like they are really hush hush about Genty and like, hey, don't say that. And then they drafted him. There's no way Genty doesn't touch the ball at least 310 times this year. Like he is going to touch the ball a lot. And I think one aspect of Genty's game that was not talked about enough was how good of a pass catcher this kid is. Like he did play a little bit of receiver in high school, just because the running back in front of him in high school was really good. I think he catches 50 to 60 balls in this offense. He's just a really good running back. Like he did all that. Like he did all the 2,500 yards rushing, all that stuff with like basically a busted elbow. Like he hurt that elbow, I think 5-6 games into the season and had that big arm cast on. This kid's a freak. Like I can't wait to watch him in the NFL. The contact balance, which people reiterate a ton, like he is a bowling ball. It is, and he's fast. Like let's not forget, like he's not just a truck and get 7-8 yards. He's going to break away. I am so excited to watch him in this offense. Him and Brock Bowers are such a fun duo to watch. Like Raiders are gonna be must-see TV just because of those two dudes. So I'm super excited to watch it.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with you 100%. And I'm going to kind of circle back to Pete Carroll. Just ignore everything that he says. He did the same thing in Seattle. He always said something and did different, did whatever was going to happen. We know he's going to run the ball. He is a run the ball type of guy, and that's how it's going to work. So I would not put any sprinkles on what Pete Carroll says as far as Genty is not going to be the primary back, and Mostert's going to get some workload. He might get a little, but this is the Ashton Genty show without a doubt. Book it, write it down, right? 622. We said it. Ignore what Pete Carroll says. I promise you, it's not a thing. It is not a thing. So,
how about
wide receivers? Oh, go ahead.
How about this for a start in the draft? If you got Genty and Nico or Genty and BTJ, that is a fun team to get at that turn.
Yeah,
I think the back end of rounds is probably the way to sit. Like if you get the draft positions or whatever, I think the back end of this year is a really fun place to be.
Yeah, if you're at 9 or 10, 11 or 12, I agree. It's actually kind of fun. You like go, ooh, this is nice. There's a lot of guys sitting there. I agree with you. The wide receivers coming in out of for the Raiders, right? We know we'll include Bowers. Bowers is a pass catcher. You're going to have to take him in the first, I guess, mid-second round, early second round, if you want to do that. There's probably only 3 tight ends that you need to get if you want a premium tight end. I would honestly wait until the very, very later rounds for tight ends because they're all so close. Your thoughts on that, Justin? You agree?
Yeah, if you don't get basically Bowers, McBride, or Kittle, you can kind of put the position because, like Matt said, all of them are going to be that. I mean, tight end 4 to tight end 12 is going to be pretty close.
Yep, I agree. But the wide receivers for the Raiders, I kind of skipped it, but there's not much here other than, maybe Beck and Thornton to see what happens here. And they're going so late, right? They're just flyers. I'm probably not dabbling. Somebody's going to get all the pass catchers, right? Maybe Jacoby Myers is your third back, whatever. You can get him in the 7th round. I think there are other guys that I like better in the 7th round, but it's kind of right? I'm not really sure what to do with this. I'm probably skipping all those guys and just relying on Genty and Bowers for this team.
Correct. So Jacoby's been a pretty consistent wide receiver 2 and a very back end wide receiver 2. So 28 finish, 24, 23 finish. Again, just like Matt said, this offense is going to be fun because there's 2 players that make it super fun because they're very elite. They're both top 5 in their position. They're both the first or second round draft picks, depending on what platform you're playing on. If you're playing on a tight end premium league, then maybe Brock Bowers goes in the first round. I don't see myself drafting any of these wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree. And again, there's just not a lot there. moving on to our Super Bowl, the Chiefs, our favorite topic, right? 15-2 last year. They reached this, they reached the Super Bowl and they lost in there. It says lost to the Chiefs, but it's supposed to be lost to the Eagles, as we all know. They lost that Super Bowl. You have them predicted quite a bit less, Justin. I am surprised at this. Give me your insight. Why are the Chiefs only 10-7?
I just think this division, they're just gonna beat the crap out of each other. Like, it just feels like until the Chiefs figure out these bookends, so these tackles, these left and right tackles, they try the kid from BYU. They're bringing in people. I just, it kind of scares me. It feels like they're gonna rely more on the run game. They brought in Jalen Moore from San Francisco. They drafted Josh Simmons at Ohio State, who I love, but he had a torn patellar tendon. That's why he dropped so low. Jawan Taylor has a history of just holds after holds. Trey Smith is an All-Pro. Creed Humphrey's an All-Pro. Kinley from BYU, again, he tried to play left tackle. It didn't work. He was too slow off the edge. They put him at left guard. We'll kind of see what that happens. Rasheed Rice, is the suspension going to happen? Coming back from that ACL. A little scary. This defense is scary. They're real similar to the Denver Broncos, which as Denver continues to age, this will be my scaredness of Denver is they're going to rely on this defense and going to be functional offense when it matters. So that'll probably be 2 or 3 years down the league. But this defense is nasty.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be interesting to see how the Chiefs come out. Right? So I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes, who didn't finish all that great. I think some people are getting down on Patrick Mahomes in fantasy. I think currently he's going in the 5th round, right? He's ranked 6th, ADP's 55, 5th round, which is late for Patrick Mahomes. People are kind of frustrated. A couple years ago, he was going in the 1st round. Some people are really reaching and wanted him. 5th round's now a bargain for me. I'm okay getting Patrick Mahomes in the 5th for sure. I think that's much better value. And I think they could surprise some people. They're trying to pull some people together, so we'll see. Thoughts on Patrick Mahomes there, Justin?
Yeah, I just last year was his first time not finishing as a top 10 QB, at least in half PPR. He doesn't run the ball as much as he used to. I mean, he usually averaged around 300 yards a season. His touchdowns just feel like they keep going down. I mean, his second year, he had 50, he had 38, 37, 41, and it's kind of leveled off 27, 26. Will continue to be that range. He is a quarterback that has to throw for touchdowns. Like, he's not going to run the ball in. Again, as his ADP, I think will continue to sink, like Matt has alluded to. I think he will be a bargain by the time we get to redraft season.
It will not surprise me if he drops to 6th round. I mean, is it possible 7th? Probably not that far, but it would not surprise me if he drops to the 6th round. So we'll see. I think he's a bargain. I think there's opportunities there for sure. Moving on to running back, Pacheco and Hunt. Now, Pacheco's tough. They also did get Brashard Smith as a late, I think he was a 6th round running back taken this year, who could be interesting, right? He's not real big guy, 5'10", 196, so he's not over 200 out of SMU, kind of a speedy guy that could take some touches. Think of McKinnon, right? That should go into your head for Brashard Smith. So Pacheco, do you like Pacheco in the 7th round? Are you taking him?
Yeah, I think I probably will take it because I think they're going to really rely on the interior of this offense. I think they're going to be the Kansas City that we've seen the past 3 years where they're just going to be like, we're going to win games with our defense and a strong run game. Whether that is Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. I think Elijah Mitchell is a really sneaky waiver guy. It'll be interesting if they keep all 4 of those guys, including Brashard Smith. I think they're just going to run the ball. They have a bunch of gadgety guys, and Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Sky Moore. All those guys will probably get some touches as well. So I think Pacheco is going to be a very good RB2, very easy to stick your lineup and get 8 to 15 points a week. So.
No, that's fair. I'm just looking at ADPs here, and I'm gonna see if I can find him. Should have been looking a little bit sooner, to be honest.
I got him around Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. Those are the running backs he's going around.
Yeah, and I think I'm taking Najee Harris over Pacheco.
Oh, wow.
Yep,
Really?
I think I'm taking Najee. Yeah, in that running because they are going to rely on the run so much. Give me Najee over Pacheco in that area, and then again, if I can get, I got to get Hampton.
Can I throw you a few other ones?
Sure.
Judkins?
No.
Caleb Johnson.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Caleb Johnson. I think he is a sneaky pick.
Your boy Swift.
Do we have to talk about Swift right now? Can we just save him? Can we save him for another day? I don't want to talk about Swift right now.
He's next week. NFC North.
I know. Yeah, you're gonna make me take Swift, but I don't want to talk about him.
I think that was gonna be a tough one. Shakir?
No. I'll take Pacheco.
Pearsall?
No, give me Pacheco because it depends on the construct of my team, but I'm probably taking receivers a little bit earlier in that.
And then last one, Josh Downs, who I traded for in one of our leagues.
Yeah, if you have the right running backs and Pacheco's kind of your third, fourth guy, yeah, I'll take Downs.
All right.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. Speaking of wide receivers, you got the wide receiver group with the Chiefs. You got Rice, Worthy, Brown. I did throw Royals on here. Rice, he is ADP is 46. Worthy is 56. Hollywood Brown's 144, and Royals is 222 to be precise. Justin, are you taking Rice with a second round pick?
Okay, so this is kind of where I did my notes in like my hot take with Rice. Okay, so his first 3 games before he got assaulted by Patrick Mahomes on that blindside block, he had 7 for 103, 5 for 75, and then 12 for 110. So very, very good numbers. Okay, his injury was a pretty devastating injury. Like, I don't care that it happened in week 4. It still happened. It was still pretty bad. I would not take him in the second round. Matt can maybe look up some wide receivers around there. I can tell him yes or no. I think this is a very strong pivot to Xavier Worthy. Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce kind of do the same thing. Very much middle of the field, very much yak guys. Make sure we get the ball within 5 yards. Xavier Worthy does something, again, he's very similar to Hollywood Brown, but they invested a first-round draft pick in Xavier Worthy. They want to see him do well. I think he's someone that will continue to dip as Rashee Rice continues to go up because people are chasing the production that was in those first 4 games. I am very much against chasing injured players coming off ACLs. I feel like we've only ever really seen one player really come back and do it at a crazy pace, which was AP, and AP is an alien. He is not from this planet. So again, I would very much pivot to Xavier Worthy, really bet on that second year breakout, that sophomore breakout.
Let me give you a couple guys. Garrett Wilson.
Gosh, my Garrett Wilson attest.
I know. That's why I picked him.
I would probably take Garrett Wilson.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, MHJ, dude. All day.
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I'm going to take Terry. Debo looks kind of fat.
Mike Evans.
Oh, Evans. Evans for sure.
DJ Moore.
Probably Rice in that one.
Let me give you one more here. You haven't. I don't know if I like that setup. JSN, or Rice.
Oh gosh, I don't like either of these players. I'm gonna go JSN because I just don't like injuries. I got
Yeah,
burned
fair
too many
enough,
times in the past by injuries.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with you on a lot of this. I'm probably avoiding Rice. I like Worthy. I'm not even opposed to Hollywood Brown as a wide receiver 3 category. Him coming back from injury, but I will tell you a kid that I keep reading about, and I liked him out of Utah State. He just had an absolute horrible quarterback at Utah State. Is Royals. There's some good stuff coming at him. He's a hard worker. He's getting after it. Now he's got a big
dude.
uphill battle.
He is
He's big,
boy.
yeah. He might be that guy that can help them. And if he shows up well, maybe he'll get the ball. But again, he's got a mountain to climb. But I sure do like Royals a lot. I liked him pre-draft. I liked him now he's on the Chiefs. There is that. I don't know if I want to compare it this way, but I think the opportunities there, just like Egbuka. Egbuka's got a little bit of a hill to climb, right? They're kind of in that same category. They both can get it done. And Egbuka's a different. Don't get me wrong. Good Lord. I'm not comparing Royals to Egbuka. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because Egbuka's different. That's yeah. Somebody's gonna say that. How can you compare those two? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they both got to climb a mountain here to get some playing time and could be very, very beneficial. So, Kelsey's an interesting one. He's 5. His ADP is 82. You have to spend a 7th round pick, and I do want to pull up just some stats from him last year. Just for giggles, how many receiving yards do you think he had last year?
I'm 42. I don't know. That's my guess.
42 receiving yards, or no?
942 yards.
Oh, 9, so you're close. 823.
Okay.
I'm. You know what? It was weird because he seemed like he was so far out of the loop last year that I didn't think he was anywhere close to 800. I really thought he was less than 6. So I was like, wow, he did only have 3 touchdowns now, and that's probably why I felt that way. So it's like, man, does he have another year in him? Because, they lost the Super Bowl. Can he refocus? He's like, this is going to be my last shot, and maybe there's one more after it. I don't know. But I think there's a chance he could be super focused. And you have to spend a 7th round pick. You don't have to spend a 2nd round pick on him. You don't have to spend a 1st round pick on him anymore. He may fall. And I think that's pretty good value, even though he's going to be 30. He'll be 36 in October. I think he's got one last decent year in him. No worse than what he was this year. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think to kind of circle back to Matt's Patrick Mahomes point, if you draft Patrick in the 6th, just stack, just double down and say, I'm going to take Kelsey next round. If you take him in the 6th, like, all right, Kelsey, we're stacking it. And just chase a little bit of that stack. I think that's a good stack to chase since it is so late. Again, I would always pair up Patrick Mahomes with a good running quarterback, maybe bet on a Cam Ward or something like that to pair with him. But I think that's a really good setup there.
Yeah, give me so let's assuming you have your quarterback, maybe you got a Josh Allen or maybe you got Patrick Mahomes already, kind of in that same area. Cooper Kupp or Travis Kelce?
Probably Kelsey. I just don't trust that Seattle offense at all.
Mooney or Kelce?
Oh my gosh.
I knew you were going to like that one.
He's just tugging at me. Mooney almost had 1,000 yards.
I know.
Oh, man, that's tough. I need too much Atlanta Falcons stuff, dude. It's Mooney. He's having a really good camp. I'm excited to watch him this year. I mean, like, Matt got to watch Mooney before I did. I did not know Mooney was that guy. Like, he's a good receiver.
He was good in Chicago, and if that doesn't tell you anything, he was even better in Atlanta because Chicago. My Bears will figure it out someday. I don't know if it's before I go, but Mooney is a very good wide receiver. Let me give you one more. Josh Downs or Travis Kelce?
Yeah, I pretty much put my flag at Josh Downs, so I'm going to keep riding it until I'm wrong. I think he's going to be really, really good this year. He has some weird stats that are like on pace with Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase is like my guy. So I was like, I'm going to chase this and see what happens. I think Daniel Jones is going to make him. Do you remember Wandale last year? where he was just catching a gajillion balls randomly, but like had like 50 catches for like 60 yards. It's like that's what Daniel Jones is going to do to Josh Downs.
Hope so.
So
I hope so too. Okay, gosh, we went through those pretty darn fast. What are your guys' thoughts? You guys agree? Disagree? Let us know. Give us a comment. Leave us a comment. We're interested in what you guys have to say. Again, we are here for you to like the we want you to win. Like the channel, subscribe. We come to you guys every Sunday. At least kind of in this off season. We'll do a little bit more as the season kind of churns a little bit closer and closer. Yeah, Justin, lots of good stuff, man. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good discussion today. Who is your biggest surprise out of this division that you will just think like, wow, is going to flop? Give me one player.
Man, this is tough. I can't think right now. I just don't think Rishi Rice is going to be that guy this year.
You stole my guy.
I just don't understand the hype. I don't. Like his knee, like it was, I think it was more than just his ACL. Like it was a pretty big injury. And again, like I just have been burned so many different times on injuries with that. Again, an add-on since I stole Matt's, maybe Matt wants to still talk about Rice. I think the RJ Harvey's hype is way too much. I think people got to sell your role. He's an older back. He had an old breakout age. He's 24. I believe Sean Payton's going to get him the ball a lot, but I think JK and Jalil are going to still just enough of that workload where maybe one dude, the highest rusher, is going to have maybe 40 and like 6 touchdowns. I think Bo Nix is going to carry that offense. He's going to have a lot of rushing touchdowns as well.
Yeah, you stole my thunder on Rice. I don't think Rice is going to be all that great. I just don't. For the price you're paying, I'd rather have Worthy or another wide receiver. I will just to answer you. I really do hope the Harvey train keeps just going, because here's what's going to happen. Right, this is a future Matto talking, I guess. What's going to happen is somebody's going to draft Harvey in the 3rd round because they're all excited, right? They're a Denver fan playing in our leagues, and he's not going to do anything, and they're going to get frustrated, and there's going to be an opportunity for a really, really good trade. And in the second half of the season, I think Harvey's going to step it up. I really do. I like Harvey a lot, but I'm not going to pay a 2nd rounder for him, right? But I'm going to get some value and maybe make a couple trades and add to my running back depth. Give me a surprise guy, somebody that people are sleeping on that they shouldn't be.
I think it's got to be Evan Ingram. Like me and Matt already talked about it. I think like Matt said, that 1 year with Jacksonville, he had like 143 targets and like 112 catches. Like he is like, if you're playing full PPR and even with the tight end premium, I feel like people kind of forgot about him. He got hurt. Very under the radar signing by Denver. Sean Payton has talked a lot about him. It feels like Sean Payton has been looking for a tight end ever since he traded Jimmy Graham to the Seahawks. Feels like he's always trying to find that athletic guy. I think he's going to be very scary. I think he is guaranteed, locked, barring injury. He is a top 5 tight end this year.
Yeah, and my surprise guy, you guys, it's going to go right along with Harvey, is Dobbins. The dude's been a great running back for a long time. Don't sleep on him. If you get Harvey for some reason he falls to you, get Dobbins, especially in best ball. But if you want that, Sean Payton's going to use his running backs. He's very clear of that. And Dobbins is going to be that veteran guy that's going to get some early workload carry, and he's going to surprise some people. He will be a sleeper for sure in my eyeball. So, well, Justin, we are just about out of time. Give me your final thoughts. We'll get things wrapped up here for this evening.
So this is my bold take on this, and on anybody position-wise in the AFC West. There's probably only 5 guys in the first round I would take over Ashton Jetty. I think he's going to be that good. Like the Saquon, like all the numbers point to him having a very big regression. Like you just don't get 450 touches and repeat. It just doesn't happen. he's going to be a scary, scary running back. Like, even against Penn State, where Boise State was clearly outmatched offensive line-wise, Genty had a bad game. He still had over 100 yards. He was nursing an injury. Like, he's a different cat. He is a different running back. You don't accidentally run for 2,500 yards. Again, you should not be scared to pull the trigger at the 105, the 106, so on and so forth to draft this kid, especially in PPR formats, half PPR formats. He catches the ball very, very well.
Yep, agreed. Remember, Boise State didn't have a Brock Bowers either against that Penn State game either. So understand he was the complete offense, but
100%.
Good take. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Again, we just want to be interactive. Let us know what we can do for you. We just have a good time just talking ball, right? It's so much fun to just sit here and sit down with Justin and you guys and talk football and really just have a good time. So we will be back next Sunday. And Justin, you said we have the NFC East?
No, we got your division.
Do we have to start there?
Yes, we got to start the North, baby.
All
Excited
right.
to talk about
All
it.
right.
I think these two are the best divisions. I think the AFC West and the NFC North, they are going to be very fun, very competitive divisions with good quarterback play. Like, it's going to be a very, very, very fun divisions to watch.
Well, right on. Lions and Bears and Packers and oh my, Vikings, oh my, right? We'll get after it next week, 8:30 on Sunday. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys. We'll sell that, I guess, until next time. We'll see you next time. Later, guys. Have a good night.